Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're diving deep in this masterclass on what's really happening in the world of cyber threats. We're going to challenge some of the biggest assumptions out there and pull back the curtain on the forces that are truly shaping the attacks we've seen this past year.
So let's just start with a quick question. Think about it for a second. When you look back at the last year, what's the single biggest cyber threat that pops into your head? For you? For your company? What was the main event? I'm willing to bet I know what you're thinking. Ransomware, right? Of course. It's all over the news, it's what has executives losing sleep, and let's be honest, it's the most explosive, in-your-face kind of attack. And look, you're not wrong to think that. It is a massive, massive problem, but it's not the real story.
What if I told you that all that ransomware we're seeing, it isn't the actual disease, it's just the symptom? It's the loud, painful final stage of a much deeper, more fundamental problem with how we're defending ourselves.
And that right there is the core idea for our entire masterclass today. We've got to stop just treating the symptom and finally start diagnosing the disease. Because that's where the real fight is happening, and frankly, it's where a lot of organizations are losing.
So here it is, the big distinction. While ransomware is the headache, the fever, the thing you can't ignore, the actual disease, the virus that enables almost all of these major attacks, is evasion. And when I say evasion, I don't just mean some slick malware sneaking past your antivirus. No. This is way more fundamental. We're talking about a strategy of just deliberately walking around the security controls that you assume are working just fine.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, attackers aren't spending all their time trying to find some complex zero-day exploit to break down your walls. Instead, they're living in this gray area. They're abusing legitimate tools, bypassing your identity checks, and exploiting weak processes. They're finding the path of least resistance right through the gaps in your most basic security hygiene.
And this whole trend is accelerating like crazy because evasion is now a business. You can buy it as a service. We're seeing this boom in what's being called Malicious-as-a-Service. You can literally go to a commercial platform and buy a package deal that includes real-time voice phishing and tools to get around multi-factor authentication. It's putting nation-state level tools into the hands of just about anyone, and the barrier for entry for these sophisticated attacks has basically hit rock bottom.
Now let's talk about the primary battlefield where all of this is playing out, where these evasion tactics are the most devastating. And that, of course, is the cloud. This is the environment where one tiny overlooked mistake can turn into an absolute catastrophe in the blink of an eye.
You see, the cloud creates this perfect storm for defenders. It's designed, on purpose, to be easy to use, which means it hides all of its incredible complexity under the hood. At the same time, it's where we put all of our crown jewels, our most important data, our critical services, our entire identity infrastructure, all in one interconnected place.
And this is exactly how fast things can go wrong. It starts with something tiny. An attacker phishes a single user and gets their access token. That's it. They have a foothold. But then they start poking around and realize, whoa, this token has way more power than it should. And just like that, the snowball starts rolling downhill, and that one tiny compromise escalates into a full-blown crisis, with the attacker basically building their own little empire right inside your network.
So what is the number one mistake that lets this happen? It's simple, a catastrophic lack of visibility. When an attack is kicking off, most organizations are flying completely blind. They just don't know what's happening. You've got shadow IT everywhere, developers spinning up services with overly permissive access tokens that nobody is tracking, and it all comes down to one simple truth. You cannot defend what you cannot see.
Okay, this brings us to our next critical trend. We have to change the image we have in our heads of an attacker. They're not always picking locks and smashing windows anymore. More and more, they are just walking in the front door, using the keys that we ourselves gave away. This is the supply chain nightmare.
Think about it. Every time you integrate a new third-party service, you have to give them access to your environment. You hand them permissions, you give them access tokens. You are literally giving them a set of keys to your castle. So when an attacker compromises your supplier, they don't have to bother attacking you directly. They just take the keys you already gave away and walk right in, inheriting all of that trust and all of that access instantly.
And this isn't just a tech problem, it's a huge human and process failure. This quote is from a real incident. An attacker was calling a third-party help desk and just asking them to reset passwords and MFA, and they did it with zero resistance. On the fourth call, the attacker got cocky and asked for admin rights. They provided an employee ID that wasn't even in the right format for the company, and they still got the access. It proves the old saying, your security is only as strong as your weakest partner.
And people know this is a problem. They're getting nervous. A recent poll showed that a staggering 57% of organizations are only somewhat confident in their supply chain security. Somewhat confident? That's just a polite way of saying not confident at all, right? It's a huge blinking red light that everybody in the industry can see.
So let's say the attacker is in. They've either evaded your controls or walked in through a supplier. What are they actually looking for? Well, their strategy has gotten incredibly precise. They're not just grabbing everything in sight. They are panning for digital gold.
This is a really crucial shift to understand. The old smash and grab days of just stealing terabytes of data are over. Attackers have realized it's just not that profitable. The real value isn't in stealing all the data. It's about stealing the right data. And 9 times out of 10, the right data isn't your customer list, it's your credentials, it's your keys.
And this is exactly what they're hunting for. These are the high-value targets. Things like cloud access tokens, VPN logins, those super powerful service accounts for your identity systems, and even personal access tokens that your developers use. These are the master keys to your kingdom. One of these can unlock huge new parts of your network and let an attacker move around freely. And to find these keys, they are literally sifting through mountains of old data stolen by cheap commodity malware. Data that might have been sitting around for months or even years. They are patiently panning for gold, just searching for that one forgotten API key an employee used on an insecure machine once and then forgot about. Because they know if that key is still active, it's a massive payday.
All right, so let's recap. The real threat is evasion. The battlefield is the cloud. Attackers are walking in through your suppliers, and they are hunting for credentials. So, what on earth do we do about all this? In our final section, let's talk about how we need to start rethinking our entire approach to security. Let's boil this entire masterclass down to 4 essential takeaways. 4 mental shifts you have to make. 1. Stop focusing on ransomware and start focusing on closing the basic gaps that allow for evasion in the first place. 2. The cloud's hidden complexity is an attacker's best friend. Your job is to get visibility into it. 3. Your security perimeter doesn't stop at your front door anymore. It extends to every single one of your suppliers. And finally, 4, protect your credentials like they're gold bars because that's exactly what they're worth to an attacker.
So I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. For years, we've built our defenses like castles, right? With high walls and strong gates, all designed to stop a break-in. But this whole new landscape we've talked about demands a completely new and much more unsettling question. Are you prepared for the attacker who doesn't need to break in? The one who is already inside, using the very keys that you gave them? That's the challenge we're all facing now.